we're really disconnected from nature. If nature thrives, we thrive. Surrounded by trees, grass, meadows, whatever we want to mention, is actually incredibly good for our mental health, because nature's been working on this way longer than us humans, observing, really paying attention, being in a moment.
Welcome to the Energy Lab podcast. This week's guest is Andrea Orsag. Andrea is an awesome circular economy and sustainability evangelist with more than 15 years of experience in risk management, strategy, and change management. As the founder of Mission C, Andrea accelerates the global transition to a sustainable future by promoting circular economy principles and incorporating ESG factors.
Where does the meat come from? What is behind industrial farming? Way more functional nutrition is available in a plant-based form. According to the research, there are many health benefits. There are many environmental benefits, talking about a footprint. For me, it's really important part of the sustainability journey, awareness and consciousness. So we're getting back to health, right? Physical health and mental health. Conscious to me is the awareness of the impact.
She's appointed as sustainability expert at the European Commission, and she's also mentor for impact-driven startups and individuals. Andrea brings a human-centric approach to drive the transition toward a circular economy. She also assists this company in refining their sustainability strategies and also implementing impactful programs.
Realizing what's behind all those actions that we take as a business, as a government, as individuals. So your authentic business, your purpose-driven business, right? It helps you with the positioning on a market, whether some businesses like it or not. The change is coming. Consciousness, awareness, impact, purpose, authenticity, and in the end, sustainable progress.
In this conversation, we dive into some exciting aspects on sustainability and well-being. We learn about the relationship between circular economy, health, personal growth, and much more. Get ready for an eye-opening conversation that will leave you inspired and willing to learn more. Andrea Orsag, welcome at the Energy Lab podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
So am I, Kitty. Hi.
Hello. I got a few questions which were inspired by your human-centric approach that I really enjoyed last time we had a chat, and inspired by your work. So human-centric approach to circular economy, of course. But before we jump into that, I would like to ask you a personal question, but not too personal. So, if you need to, or you should describe yourself in 3 adjectives, which one would those be?
And this is actually a really, really nice question, and comes up quite often. So as for good news, I had a chance to think about it. And I really do believe the first one is curiosity. Pretty much like everything I do and my whole life is driven by curiosity. Then I'd like to add imagination. This is also sort of my superpower, I dare to say. And as for the third one, let's go for adventure/excitement.
I love all of them. I really can also mirror myself on those. That's wonderful. Thank you. Adventures is always a good point, because if you're curious and adventurous, you can explore everything, go deeper into whatever, your mind and heart and soul goes into. That's the reason why I especially value them. Cool. Then I'd love to talk a little bit, or let you talk, ideally, about circular economy and well-being. So, the Energy Lab podcast, it's about that connection, about a healthy me, healthy planet, and that was the point of contact that brought us together. So thinking about circular economy, so your work, how you're serving people, how does circular economy affect the individual health and well-being from your perspective?
In my view, there is actually a really, really nice connection, because circular economy is about how to avoid those, in my view, stressful things, such as like clutter or waste very often. Uncircular or linear economy is very often linked also to low quality, huge amounts, throwing away, with the overconsumption and overproduction, destroying or having very negative impact on people who produce, help to produce different products, and also the environment. So actually going circular that means better products, better services, less clutter, less waste, and less negative impact. And I do believe this is precisely what's directly linked to well-being, because you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff full of quality laying around, or whether we're talking about your wardrobe or chemicals in your cosmetics, or all this waste and packaging that you continuously have to try to fit into the trash bin at home. And also just knowing and this like awareness that you're getting products or access to services that are helpful without such a huge environmental footprint and impact, and also social impact, then with a linear economy. Yeah, to me, this is already a pretty nice feeling, and nice feeling leads to feeling good, feeling well. So hence the well-being connection.
Yeah, so on the mental part, that's definitely the first connection, right? If you think about the impact on that feeling itself, of course, I guess that there's more, which is more as well on the physical part, which is more complex, I believe. But this is the most direct link.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about a physical, Kathy. So then we're, of course, getting into the questions of health, right? Well-being is also about being healthy. And these days, with the climate challenges, we're hearing, and not only hearing, but unfortunately, we're seeing and experiencing low air quality. So air pollution and also water pollution. So it's all over us. And then again, talking about health, like with sustainable options, where circularity is actually and certainly a good strategy to go for, not the only one, but certainly very important one. It directly has an impact on health, therefore. Because what we want in the end is, of course, healthy soil, healthy water, healthy air, and then we can produce healthy food out of it. So again, it's something that on a physical level fuels our body, makes us feel better, and helps us to stay healthy. So indeed, we're talking physical health and also mental health, a nice combination.
This is actually leading to the other question that I wanted to ask you, because it's about wanting that better life. Like everybody wants a better life. We have the best resolution, and this is the best time for the resolutions, right? But yet we often fail because we have the goals that are not really sometimes aligned to the big picture, but which sometimes we're missing. So that was the question: how this is linked to the relationship with the environment, and you kind of summarize between this link on the mental and on the physical part. So I think like most of us are not really aware of that connection, right? I mean,
That's a
just
very
my
good
feeling.
point.
That's the reason why I started to I connected with you. I started to think about doing this with this podcast, trying to get a bit of more clarity, because of course it's also for me learning. But most of us are not really aware, and awareness is the first step.
Yeah, awareness. What a wonderful, wonderful word. And indeed, I do believe it's going to come back in our conversation. And you're right. I mean, unfortunately, very often we as humans run on some autopilot. We just do things automatically, whether it's some sort of a programming, not really paying attention what is actually happening, what is the impact, what is the action. So yeah, you're right. We're just a few days, we could literally say like few hours from the end of 2023, really nicely rolling into the 2024. And yeah, I do believe this awareness is really, really key here. Being aware what's happening, because yeah, in the modern society, unfortunately, we can see it all over. We're really disconnected from nature, like many kids, many adults even don't really realize where their food is coming from. They think it's coming from supermarket. It was grown there. Or the same goes, of course, with our clothes. We don't really have very often. It's like insights, those details, this awareness, like where it's produced, how it's produced, what are the materials, who are the people working on it, like how many resources are needed to create a product that we're then using. And of course, like it could be a product that's very trendy and low quality or whatnot, all the different combination of adjectives there, or it can be actually something that really lasts, makes us again feel good, and won't end up as a waste with a blink of an eye. So it all creates different impact.
Yeah, you just mentioned a word that that leads actually to another. It's wonderful because like the question that I thought for you, that they are going, they're flowing perfectly. This connection, like the feeling is that the more we are connected in tech terms, and the more we are disconnected with ourselves. So I was reflecting about this because the connection to ourselves, and when sometimes we're in nature, we feel like more connected with ourselves, and sometimes we are also like kind of surprised. Like we think, oh, I feel better when I'm in nature. But this is actually the most natural thing because we are part of nature. It's just that sometimes we forget, or we get so far away that we don't consider it anymore. So you mentioned some examples like, the origin of products or things that are in our daily life. But what do you think, how we could improve this? Like any specific tips or any specific things in your life, day-to-day life, or in your business that you think we can all try to get more attention and focus to improve this connection and get more connected? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
Ketty, you already really nicely hinted it. So, first of all, unfortunately, we're disconnected from the nature, and that's such a big pity because if we're disconnected from something, we don't see the value of it, right? And exactly as you mentioned, like we are not separate from nature. It's not like we are here to abuse the nature. We are part of the nature. We're part of the same ecosystem. If nature thrives, we thrive, and therefore it's all connected. And yeah, what can we do in order to connect more? Well, I really do believe, and it's not just me thinking and believing, but there are actually quite a lot of studies proving that green and the nature, natural environment, walking in the nature, just looking outside at a tree, spending some time in this like virgin nature surrounded by trees, grass, meadows, whatever we want to mention, is actually incredibly good for our mental health, for the feeling of calming down, for reassuring us that it's okay, we're good, we're fine. So I would say a very, very simple tip here would be just really go out there, go into the nature, go for a walk, and really pay attention, be in the moment. Have a look at those beautiful trees, how majestic they are, all those birds that are sitting on our trees, everything that's happening around. Like, in the end, I do believe nature is such a wonderful guide. Like, it also has so many examples for all of us humans and our society, how actually we can create, in the end, also better products and services. Because nature's been working on this way longer than us humans, and it really has so many solutions for us, like how to operate better, how to be better, how to live better. So being in nature really helps us to slow down. So this is already one really interesting observation, especially in today's lives when everyone is really aiming to do everything fast, and efficiency and productivity are kind of like words that are thrown away like so very often. And then again, observing, really paying attention, being in a moment, and then again, just the green, just those natural sounds, like they're very soothing, very calming. And I really do believe if we reconnect with the nature, if we really understand and feel, if we really are convinced that we're part of it, we don't have a need to hurt it, to abuse it. We are just going to live in a better harmony. And I really, really believe that this helps us to then also make better choices and actions that are having different impact than the ones that are without this nuance and this feeling, so to say. We don't.
Yeah,
We
that's
don't.
that's connection as well to what we breathe, what we eat, and everything that it's so close to us. So, and you were mentioned last time, and it was no surprise that you are a plant-based eater. I like to call it that way. So, talking about the connection and the all those wonderful topics, realities, and not just ideas you're talking about. What does it mean for you being plant-based eater, and how does it relate to you as a person and to your greater cause?
Oh, I love this question so much. And I really wish we would discuss this generally way more. I still get a feeling, as soon as you mentioned that you're plant based or vegan, like many people look at you in a, yeah, not really understanding judgmental way almost. And I think it's a pity because I understand why this feeling is there. It's very often coming from the fact that it's reflecting also on themselves, like, okay, like why, what do I do? Because again, like eating animals is something that we as humans have been doing for such a long time. We normalize it, right? It became a part of our daily life. So again, no one really, no one, many people don't really think like where does the meat come from. And of course, like we could have a long discussion here that there are many animals that are being farmed in a quote sustainable animal friendly ways, but we need to realize that majority of the farming is this industrial farming. And once you really start realizing what is behind industrial farming, like what is really happening there, how those animals are living there, and then you realize that you're the one pretty much like paying for their abuse, for their exploitation. It's really really difficult to justify eating meat, and especially because we're again talking about 2023, almost 2024. So I get it that in some stone age, we were dependent on any food we were able to get, but again, hunting ourselves for wild animals. But these days there are really wonderful options, very often even way more functional nutritions available in a plant-based form. And for me it's very important, from the sense, and again, it was a journey, it didn't happen from one night to another, um, just to really eat in a way that I don't contribute to exploitation and abuse of wonderful living beings, animals in this case, that are again part of our ecosystem. So um, for 4 years now, I really eat plant based. Before that, it was a continuous journey, stopping to eat some and then really eating everything. And makes me feel good. Again, according to the research, there are many health benefits. There are many environmental benefits. Talking about a footprint, we could really deep dive into that. There would be another long, long, wonderful discussion with you, Kathy. But for me, it's really also about recognizing those animals, their lives, their right to live on this beautiful planet. And not to be abused by us for what? For a piece of hamburger, for a sandwich with a piece of ham? Like, who are we as humans that we really dare to, yeah, let those animals go through what they have to go just to be able to say like, I love BLT sandwich. So for me, it's really important part of the sustainability journey, awareness and consciousness. But I get it. It's a journey. And I really do believe it's step by step. And also, as for good news, if we ask AI, okay, is this a trend? Is this the way where we're heading? There are actually predictions that more and more people are turning to plant-based diets, and that trend will continue and will grow. And I really do believe that, let's say, in 100 years from now, we will be looking back at us doing animals to what we do to them. I'm talking about industrial farming. And yeah, we want to believe, like, what were we thinking? How come we allowed this to happen?
So it looks like the evolution of the human beings is taking the right direction according to the to the data. Yeah, I mean the trend. I remember seeing some data in the last years. The trend is positively. I don't have more recent numbers, but this is definitely a good news. And it's the knowledge behind it. As you said, it's a journey. The more you know, I see that in myself. Like I grew up in a family where every week, not every day, but a couple times a week, always eating meat, and the more I learned, and the less I could. Like it was kind of processes really linked to the topic awareness. Of course, it's one thing, but really learning, knowing,
Yeah.
seeing things, and that doesn't happen just because somebody's coming to you and say, I believe in this, I like this, and people go the other way around, and there's always an argument, or better, always a topic again. So it's really
Yes.
going deep and doing the work behind. I believe. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing this. It's a very important topic.
Fully with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's learning. It's about just
I
again
believe.
curiosity, asking questions, really deep diving, really be interested in the data, because it's not just like some sort of imaginary fairy tale. I mean, there is data, there is research. And as for good news these days, there are wonderful, wonderful options that are plant based. So no animal cruelty involved. And again, talking about mental health, once there's this awareness, this feels great that I can enjoy absolutely fascinating, lovely, great looking, tasty meals without, yeah, having any animal going through what they have to go through, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I also want to highlight the other topic you mentioned at the beginning with how you feel. Because apart from the mental topic, it's about listening to our body cues, how we feel after we eat certain things, and how our body reacts, our level of energy. So many times, if we do always the same thing and we're used to do some certain things, we don't really notice how our body. It's normal to be super tired after eating certain things because I always done it, so it's normal. But then when you start to change things and you look inside and you train a little bit your interoception, like that capability of say, okay, I listen to my body and I'm really there with my full attention. Then you start to think that it's not only about what's good, what's bad, it's also how you feel with it. And that's
Exactly, Kathy. So we're getting back to health, right? Physical health
yeah,
and mental health. Yeah, absolutely.
it's all connected, right? It's
Yep,
all connected.
it
I'm
is.
curious about knowing a little bit more of Mission C, which is the purpose behind it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, mission C. So all the time when I have to spell the email, it's of course like mission to the Mars, but it's mission and C. And then there is a wonderful conversation like, okay, what does the C stand for? And of course, very naturally, many people think it stands for circular. Very often I hear people think it stands for climate, it stands for carbon, collaboration, culture, co-creation, and yeah, there are many, many wonderful words that actually start with the C. And I really do believe all of them are actually in a way right and again connected. But the original C, Innovation C, stands for conscious. So, what is conscious? Conscious to me is the awareness of the impact. So, to me, it's all about taking decisions, setting up the business, having and taking action based on awareness. What's the impact of the action? And knowing that there are options, and with this awareness, deciding what do I want to go for. So, not all the decisions are, let's say, the least impactful, but at least we're taking them knowing what the impact is. And then we need to take responsibility for those actions, for those steps. Yeah, taking responsibility, but really, really starting with the awareness of what is the impact. So to me, it's not about perfection, it's about realizing what's behind all those actions that we take as a business, as a government, as individuals.
There with my wow, that's a base, right? That sounds like the very base of everything. If we
You
reflect
would think
about it.
so, right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the base and definitely there are many benefits. But if you would mention some of them, which are the biggest benefit for business to become more conscious in the work you do and how you support them?
Yeah. So, first of all, being conscious and acting with a consciousness, with the awareness of impact, I do believe makes you a better business in a sense like you take responsibility for your actions, for the product, for the services. So, you're really true to yourself as a business, and it really has the potential to help you with your positioning. Because your authentic business, your purpose driven business, right? It helps you with the positioning on a market. It helps you with attracting better people who really, really want to work for through authentic, responsible companies to really accelerate this positive impact. And I really do believe it has a potential to also help you become more efficient, lower the costs, because if you create, let's say, circular products or services and really embed sustainability in the heart of what you do as a business, you are creating less waste, your processes are streamlined, done better, you create better relationships with the stakeholders and shareholders around. And you are also future proofing yourself because whether some businesses like it or not, change is coming. I mean, I'm very, very happy that, there are certain commitments on the international level. If we're looking at the European Union, for instance, we have European Green Deal, and without going into details, there are certain regulations that the businesses need to adjust to. They need to report on what are actually the data linked to their environmental, social, and governmental actions and frameworks and factors. And it's not only about, okay, what do you plan to do in year 3752? It's about, okay, what's your roadmap? How are you going to get there? So if you're conscious, if you're sustainable by design, it's going to be way easier for you to report on that rather than be some business that is only profit driven, not really looking into how my supply chain work, who actually creates my products, what are the resources used, and then really panicking like, how do I market and pretend now and greenwash to get all those beautiful benefits, such as like certain positioning, a reputation, being authentic business, attracting the best people. So there again, like benefits all over the place.
Yeah. Are you working more with existing business, creating new processes, or with business that are building it from scratch and you help them from the beginning? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mostly work with existing businesses that are really keen to explore how they can become more conscious, more sustainable, how they can really utilize like all the tools and how they can really create a strategy that's truly, truly sustainable by design. So very often they need to, of course, completely change the business models towards more circular. They really need to rethink their products and services and how they operate. And I would like to say that the key part is here really involving and engaging absolutely all the different functions. So it's not just like for a person who has sustainability as some sort of a fancy title. Everyone's job is a sustainability job and will be even more so going forward. At the same time, I'm also super happy that I have opportunity to work with startups and with the companies that are really just in a growth phase, in a development phase these days, because they are very keen to, from the scratch, by design already, embed the sustainability into their values, into their strategy, into the whole business process. And I'm also super excited to work actually with the students and organizations that are running accelerators, incubators, really helping kind of like young leaders, young change makers, young talents to develop this like mindset, because it's going to be super crucial for the thinking that we need in order to get to the future we want, that is based already on the values around consciousness, awareness, impact, purpose, authenticity, and in the end, sustainable progress.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was thinking about I said existing, established, because you also say you work with startups. So I was wondering if there are many that are doing it, from the beginning of the business, and that's the startup work that you are doing, which definitely it's an advantage if you start your whole processes with it. But if not, then it's never too late. I guess there are all the phases, and yeah, this leads to a question that I noted down. Like, I know that's your work. I know that's impossible to summarize it in a few sentences, but if you would give like one or two advice to a purpose-driven business owner when he or she's starting a new business, whether it's product, services, or needs to pivot an existing business, which are like the main things that can be shared, like without a whole project that you would advise? Anything that, according to experiences?
I would say there are two main questions. And of course, there are many add on questions, but the two main questions to ask when starting a business, when setting a business, is like, what's the impact you want to create? And then the follow up question would be, why? Why is it important to you? What drives you? Why this is what you want to focus on? And again, we're getting here into this consciousness, into this awareness, right? Because it's very easy just to say, like, I have a business idea, this is how I will create profit. And then without any consideration of impact or consciousness, I will just keep on buying cheap stuff and reselling it. I mean, very often that's the business model we see. But if you really, really dig deep and if you, with awareness, ask those questions, what's the impact I want to create and why this is important to me? I do believe, well, buying cheap stuff and reselling it, low quality, won't be something that would pop up in your head. I do believe we're really talking here about how you can contribute to a better society with less environmental impact, how you can actually deliver value to your customers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's probably not, only talking about lowering costs and taking the most profit, even if it's
Kathy, actually, exactly when you mentioned, like, okay, sometimes it's easier to start from a scratch designing your business. It might be easier. On one hand, yes, it might be easier to embed, of course, sustainability consciousness into it. On the other hand, of course, the market is still favoring, low cost, customers are very, very price sensitive. So doing sometimes something in a more sustainable, conscious, environmental way, creating bigger value, of course, comes also typically also with a bigger cost. So we also need change of a mindset. People need to realize why actually it's worth it to pay perhaps a little bit more for a product that claims to be sustainable and has all the data backing it also. So we're talking here about really proving and real proof that there is a certification, there is a data backing all those sustainability claims. So it could be also challenging, but I do believe this is precisely what we need. I really, really wish that right now there would be something that would make it very clear that unless it's a business that's creating positive impact and really delivers value to people on the long term, wouldn't be even possible to set up.
No. It's a kind of synonymous of quality. Like I'm hearing between the lines, because when you say about the cheap things and whatever the processes behind, we don't think about unless somebody like me or who's not into those topics, we don't associate directly the sustainable topic with the quality topic. But actually, that's like maybe one of the biggest thing that comes up in the mind of somebody that is not inside those processes, right? Like it's choosing for something that less in time, something that's more quality, so it's a more customer happiness, clients happiness or satisfaction. So it's the whole benefits behind. I guess that we could do some separate podcast on on the benefits of the consequences, not only for the health but also for the business, thinking about the business life. Nice.
If I could just very quickly throw in where does the quality stand actually is circularity. So a linear economy is from getting from point A to point B, right? We extract all those resources, we create products, we use the products, we throw them away. And it's a cycle. And this is pretty much what majority of business models is also built on. Let's create a lot of product, let's sell them, and what's happening with them afterwards, we don't care. Let's just keep on selling more and more and more. This is how we generate profit. When we're talking about circularity, it's really about rethinking what is actually design of the product. So circularity really starts already when we start thinking about design, especially when we're talking about physical products. How can we design it in a way that we're using the best materials, that we're building it in a way so it's easily repairable, it can be modular. So if we need to upgrade it, instead of completely getting a new one, we just add on that. How can we really build it to last? And in order to make it last, it needs to be of good quality, right? We're completely moving away from this like fast-paced like throwaway into make it last, make it shareable. Do we always need to own those products? How about we actually have access to those products when we need them? There's so many products we don't need on daily basis. Anything from like projector, drill, and that would be a really long list. I even dare to say and challenge that these days it's even like things like car or even fashion. Do we really need to own everything? Or is it possibility to rent it, to have it for the period of time we need it, and then just let others use it. So the quality here is really important because, of course, if the quality is good, you can really clean it more. It will last more. More people can use it. It's more sturdy. We can easily repair it. And again, design is going to play a very crucial role because at the end of the product's life, so once it's really, really done and we are kind of done with all the repairs and we kind of see like, okay, the product's been around, then we need to also ensure that we need to and can actually disassemble it. So maybe bits and pieces of the resources that were used in the design can be used for something new, something else. And then the other part ideally is nicely compostable, or we can really ensure that it's not creating harm to the soil, to the water, to the air. So quality is incredibly important here. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about what you just said in terms of it's like with energy, like energy doesn't get destroyed, it transforms itself, right? And with products, it should be the same. So as consumer, we all should have this interest because at the end, it's our resources. It's we always think it's somebody else, something else, somewhere else, but at the end of the day, it's about our resources. And as like energy transform itself in something else, it should be also the way that and probably the way it used to be, right? Then someone we kind of started to do things differently for reasons that we know, at least partially probably, but we are aware of. And like energy, the transformation of whatever we're using, it's actually the right place like this. I don't know if it makes
this
sense.
is such a nice linkage over there, Katie. And exactly as you mentioned, I mean, circularity is definitely not something that's like, woohoo, Eureka, like a big invention. This is how we used to operate and function in the past. But then again, with our industrial, times, we just kind of figured, like, yeah, I can make way more profit if the production is super fast, and even it's beneficial not to create products that will last because that would mean people are not buying it anymore. So the quality and the longevity of the product in linear economy is not really a focus. Whereas like in the circularity, that is one of the strategies for climate solutions, climate action, and sustainability. We really want them to stick around and not turn into waste that fast as in linear economy.
Yeah. Someday we will go a bit deeper into some of those topics. I want now to ask you, thank you very much for educating and sharing on all of this, because I think that this is something that like all of us should be aware of, and having this thought-provoking conversations to rethink the way we live. So this is something that definitely the mainstream media is not there for. So we kind of need to do something to get that message more spread. Right? So back to you. I have to close our wonderful conversation. A couple of more questions about you. Thinking about your fitness, health, nutrition. How does your lifestyle look like? I'm curious. Any specific habits, routines that you would like to share with us?
Yes. So I decided for different reasons to really make my health a priority. I'm talking about both mental and physical one. Is also linked to my injuries in the past. It's also linked to burnout. Well, fortunately now I can refer to it like quite some time ago, so all good now. And also my neurodivergence, kind of like a diagnosis as well. So it's really, really important to me. What's really working for me, and I guess different things work for different people, but what really works for me is definitely yoga. It's definitely sauna. It's definitely mindfulness, meditation, listening to music, going for walks. And going for walks while listening to music. Yeah, actually, this morning I literally just had hot stone massage, so that really helped to kind of like get me into a good mood for the rest of the day. And just really taking me time when needed. Really focusing on good sleep. And when it comes to nutrition, so with a plant-based diet, my challenge is still, so working on it, figuring out, how to get enough good proteins into my body. So a work in progress, and lots of vegetables, definitely. Huge fan, fortunately. And just being also kind and compassionate with myself. I do believe we very often, again, in this very, very fast world, just forget if we want to be kind and compassionate towards the others, we need to really start with ourselves. We need to love ourselves. We need to be compassionate with ourselves to be able to share this energy also with the others around. And one more thing I'm specifically proud of. So it started actually 6 years back. Every 3 weeks, I'm also having Japanese acupuncture sessions. And yeah, over here, I just want to say this is what works for me. I really, really hope everyone will find what works for them. I just really want everyone to find this love for themselves, to really, really reward themselves with what makes them feel good, what makes them feel happy, because I do believe it's incredibly important.
That's so wise what you just said. Apart from I really like what you shared about you, but also the message that's about each of us. It's different. There is no perfect recipe, so you need to experiment a lot.
It's a journey, Katy. Exactly as you said. It's a journey. Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing this. What do people should do to find you and connect with you?
Definitely on LinkedIn if they want to discuss like how we could work together, how we could collaborate together towards a more sustainable world, towards more sustainable communities. So over there, it's very easy to find me. Then there's always my email if anybody feels like discussing. And I'm also very, very that I have the honor to be a part of certain mentorship programs. And yeah, always very happy to connect and explore how we could make together this world a better, more livable, more enjoyable place.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you for your enthusiasm, all the information, your great energy, and the wisdom pieces that you share with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Right back at you, Kathy. Such a pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much for raising awareness on those topics that I personally also believe deserve more space and need to be more out there. So thank you so much for being the one really putting it out there. Much appreciated and always wonderful talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well. Thank you.